セバス・ソリシャンは撤収の準備を進めよう。情報収集を行っているセバスはどうしている？
本能を呼び覚まし、それを先導して我々を操っているようだ。
そうか、分かった。何もないならば殲滅ということでよい。
俺はそれを守りてえ。
まずいぞ、これは。超速再生か。俺の番だ。次はどこだ？
私の狙いを聞いた以上、次は許さぬ。
立つ鳥後を濁さず、効率的な戦略だ。
私の体を傷つけることはできない。
想定の範囲内だ。カカロット。力を身につけてなお上に行こうというのか。
通り抜けてきたことで生まれた時空の歪みが時の指輪の力に反応して、しかし歪みは傷が治っていくように元の状態に戻ろうとしていたのです。
カカロッタ。何言ってんだ。
悟空さん、もう少しの辛抱ですよ。
確かにおめえのレベルはさらに上がったかもしんねえけどな。でもオラだってもっと強くなったって思わねえ。
そうはいくか。まさに烏合の衆。
よーし、行くぞ。
In the original script of Anime War, Omni Broly actually was supposed to come back in episode 8. Originally, Anime War was only supposed to have 10 episodes, but some episodes proved to be much more difficult than others, taking a lot longer to produce, and in the end, I actually had to skip some of the content from Anime War just so that I could actually finish this series. So that animation that you just watched was a little bit of what was supposed to happen in the original script. Basically, once all of the evil gods reconvene, which we saw from Anime War episode 10, they were actually supposed to summon Broly before they fused. And the reason for this is because in the original script, they were supposed to need Saiyan blood in order for their fusion to work and break all of the limiters, becoming as strong as Zeno. That's why back in Goku vs. Saitama, which I later renamed the Invasion of Dark Goku explained that if he fused with Goku, they would be stronger than the Omni King. But what he was really trying to do was fuse with Goku, and then that fusion would actually fuse with the rest of the evil gods to become Archon. That should have gave them enough power to not even have to actually Dark Siphon. But the Dark Siphoning of all of the heroes was actually Plan B, since Dark Goku was destroyed. And now that he was destroyed, they were going to resurrect him in order to perform the fusion. But it turns out that since Broly is in that universe, he's a much more pure, much more powerful Saiyan, and resurrecting him was a way better option. Now, there was supposed to be a line where Sebas would say, I can resurrect him, but he won't have Dark Siphoning because we won't have time to teach him that. And Zurama was going to say, that's okay, bring him to life anyway. So the reason the evil gods are able to do this dark resurrection, which they basically sacrifice an evil god in order to resurrect another person, first being Dark Goku, now being Broly, it's very similar, if not identical, to the way that the Elder Kai gave his life to Goku in order to resurrect him. So the evil gods have figured out their own method of resurrection, and with this dark resurrection, they give Broly the Omni form and the Patara earrings. Now, as we saw Whis resurrect Frieza in the final episode of Dragon Ball Super, Whis can resurrect anybody without having to sacrifice a life. So in that, he was going to resurrect Bardock, unlocking his potential and basically allowing him to go Omni form as well with 2 limiters. And so the fight was going to be Omni Broly with 1 limiter versus Goku and Bardock with 2 limiters, and Vegeta with his Royal Bloodline 1 limiter transformation. Now, because Broly wouldn't have the Dark Siphoning ability, everybody else was going to pitch in. It's particularly Beerus and Whis were going to fight a lot against Omni Broly. That's something that I really wanted to show you guys. I wanted to have more fighting with Whis, and that was supposed to be one part where he'd actually able to do a lot of hand-to-hand combat, since he wouldn't have to worry about Zurama or the other evil gods siphoning his God Ki. They were supposed to have an incredibly epic fight. At one point, Broly was going to turn into an Omni Ozaru form, and Broly's Omni Ozaru form was just supposed to be crazy destructive, like blowing up chunks of the planet, and all of the other fighters, the heroes in Anime War, were supposed to be pitching in, trying to do anything they could to basically prevent the Earth from exploding from all the destructive damage of Omni Ozaru Broly. And I was also thinking about potentially, since Bardock does have a tail, giving him an Omni Ozaru form too, so there'd be 2 Omni Great Apes fighting against each other. I debated that in my head, but I didn't come to a definitive decision over whether or not I actually wanted to do that, because it kind of makes sense if there's a fake moon in the sky or a full moon and Omni Broly transforms, then Bardock should as well. But I never got around to thinking about how exactly that would end, but that was a little piece of potential story that I could have included. And basically what was going to happen was Bardock, even though he was just resurrected, was actually going to sacrifice himself to save Goku. And in doing so, Goku would lose his mind and break his final limiter. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen my Goku reaches his highest form video, which has some of Anime War episode 13 in it. And that's because I had to change the script since I cut out this original part. Instead of Goku searching deep within himself and finding Bardock there, instead he was supposed to meet him in the real world. Bardock would sacrifice himself to save Goku. Goku would break his limiter and lose his mind, and then he and Vegeta would end up beating Broly. And that's when a beaten and battered Broly would take off his Patara earring with the rest of the evil gods and form Archon, which would basically start off at Anime War episode 11. Now, I started writing this script like 3 or 4 years ago. Basically, once I decided to make Goku vs. Saitama an entire series and leave it open-ended so I could eventually get into Anime War, I had the whole script planned out. And so back then, Broly was still a major fan favorite character. There was only one Broly. The movie wasn't revealed yet, or we didn't even know about a movie back then. So with the release of the new Broly, I also kind of took that as a note that maybe I don't want to include Broly in Anime War. What if you include the new one and people say they want the old one? What if you do vice versa? It kind of lost a little bit of its value now that there's essentially 2 Brolys. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for 3 million subscribers. I actually had a different idea for what I was going to do for 3 million. I'll save that for 4. I'm really happy that you guys have stuck around so long, that you guys love the series so much. You guys have supported me so much throughout the years, and just showing your love for the work that I'm pretty much just doing for fun means everything to me. But all good things must come to an end, and now I am working on the final episode of Anime War episode 13. I'm about halfway done, so March honestly does not look that likely, unfortunately, but I promise you that it will be the best episode ever. Thank you to all my fans and all my patrons. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be seeing you guys soon for the next one. Awarida!